Good morning, Dr. Clendenning. What's happening over there?
Well, it's way past morning, but for some people, I suppose it is. They're the Michael Aversi. It's a great day, man. The sun is out. It is bright and shiny, and it looks like wintertime because the snow's on the ground. Like it's a beautiful day.
Oh, we have a ton of, we have just an absolute ungodly amount of snow around here, man. It's like the snow ice combo locked in, still like a foot. It's 4 foot snow piles everywhere from plows. It's crazy.
Yep, we're grateful for those guys, man. Those the plow operators keep everybody functional. They're very much unsung heroes this time of the year.
Yeah, well, those guys rock, and it's got to suck. What a thankless job. I mean, even though we're thanking them right now, it still
I
is a
actually
thankless job.
really love that. It is one of my favorite things to do. Like people think I'm crazy because I love to plow snow and I love to mow grass. Like it's mindless stuff that I can just get on and make straight lines. Right? You just get in the machine, you make straight lines, you plug in a cool. It's awesome. It's a great way to shut your brain down and just be present. That's what I love about it. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I like to burn grass and throw snow. Uh,
There's that.
I'm on the complete other end of the spectrum. I'm on the destruction weaponized mode of I have snow, put it in a ball, boom. Uh,
Yep.
I can remember when I was in college and my friends and I were real jerks. There was this guy, there was a huge snow on the ground and it had been shoveled or whatever. And this guy was walking with his girlfriend. It was from a different fraternity. And my fraternity wasn't really a fraternity, it was like a gang. The dues were so cheap. I mean, it was like 25 bucks a semester. It wasn't a real frat. Like it was like 25 guys, right? It wasn't anything. And this guy was wearing a Santa hat. He was walking with his girlfriend, and I can just distinctly remember going, "We're all getting snowballs ready, right? Me and my buddies." And I go, "Hey, Santa Claus, I hate Christmas," and we just unloaded on this guy. It was the best. Oh man, it was awesome. I would do it again. It's so great. It's
Well,
awesome.
because it's frat life and because it's Greek life, I suppose we'll let that one go.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, totally, and it was in the past. And I mean, if you're the poor Santa Claus hat wearing dude, and you're listening to this, I'll apologize on behalf of
Yeah,
Michael
come on by, dude. I'll throw that thing.
for the undue assault. But
Nah,
yeah,
it's
hopefully,
fine.
yeah, you're all cool.
They were
He had a
snow
gr-
patties. They weren't snowballs.
you just simply threw snowballs at him because he had a girlfriend and you didn't at the time. Let's be really clear
Doesn't
on
matter what it is, man. He was just sitting there. You walk around with a Santa hat, dude. Stop it.
you
You're
are
already
kind of egging
disappointed.
for it in Greek life. Yeah, that's fair.
It's the best, man. And we laughed about it afterwards. It was great. So we all of us laughed about it afterwards, just because we knew the dude. So it was hilarious. Anyway, so on to less serious stuff. Let's talk about like what happens when something that was working stops working, even though it was successful. And I feel like when I reached a crossroads at one point in my life where it was almost like Tom Hanks at the end of whatever movie, Castaway, where he was kind of just standing in the middle of the road, and I had come so far. I was at a crossroads, and I wanted to go somewhere else. And all the behaviors and all the activities I did had led me to that point, but I had to get rid of some of them because I knew going forward some of those practices were unsuccessful and they weren't sustainable. And it was a really hard decision for me to mature a little bit. And I don't even know if it's mature, it's more mature in this behavior is not working. I got to delete it. And I've got to be smart enough to go do some other behaviors that are going to be sustainable and livable. Um, and I find that when a lot of people in life, like on the mental side and on the business side, they're stuck. Yes, there's the tried and true, there's principles that work, but there's not always best practices. Best practices don't always stay best practices. Fundamentals stay fundamentals, but applications change. Now, when I tell you that, right, a caveat, like I'll give you an example. Save more than you spend, right? Some might disagree, but it's sort of a fundamental rule, right? Like save more than you spend, have more money than you're laying out, right? And then people could caveat and say, well, What if you're investing in something? Gamble, throw it all away, invest. Well, that's your priority. But a fundamental rule: save more than you spend. At some point, right? It's got to work. So when I say, and I'm talking about this was successful, now it's not. What do you coach to that? What do you tell people?
It's and that is a it's such a broad topic because it happens in every aspect of our lives, all across the board. It happens in our physical fitness. It happens in our eating. It happens in our meditations. It happens, to Mike's point, it happens in financial world. So it depends on what it is, and a little bit, I would say, it depends on the when, right? Where are you in the stage of it's working? Did it fall off a cliff? Are we noticing a downward trend? Let's look at some historical data. There's some additional stuff that's going to go on there. But for this, let's say we've come to the end of it. Like let's assume we've gone through the data. Let's assume that we have looked at um, the cyclical trends historically, everything that's going on. We're looking at and let's just say that the thing that was working no longer works. We see it all the time. Businesses close, like a business, Blockbuster. Let's go Blockbuster. Why not? That was a wildly successful business model for a lot of years, like wildly successful. And that was what you did on Friday night, is you went down and you walked through the video store and you
Yeah.
picked out videos. Right now I'm thinking about the movie Legend, where Will Smith's walking through the video store with his dog talking to mannequins. But that's how far back that goes. But that was a wildly successful model, and it worked until it didn't. And what caused it didn't was Netflix. Netflix is what caused the downfall of Blockbuster, because Blockbuster refused to adapt their model. They said, "Hey, this from a social dynamic, people are always going to want to come to us." And do you remember when we used to get DVDs
I
mailed
was going to
to us
say,
from
let's
Netflix?
qualify that statement for your Gen Zs here. Uh,
Yeah.
you got to say Netflix didn't start out as Netflix. Netflix started mailing you the disc.
Yep.
You had to mail it back. Now,
Yep.
I wonder how many they lost. I guess they didn't care because they were probably printing them like going out of style, right? And then you had what, Redbox?
Yeah, and then
And
Redbox that you had to go, and now we're all in streaming services, right? And so Netflix is still around, because, and that's where I was going with the analogy, right? Blockbuster refused to change its model. It refused to change the system and the process that made it successful, and therefore it went away. When streaming came out, and I don't even remember who the first streaming network was. I don't even remember. There's so many now, but Netflix adapted. They went from mailing DVDs that caused Blockbuster to crash to you can buy all those DVDs, and then they went to the streaming service, and now you can get everything you ever wanted to get through the streaming services. But they adapted to it. They adapted to their subscription model. So even Netflix had something that worked, was awesome. It was so incredible that it put a tyrannosaurus of a business out of business, but then it failed too, right? Netflix, their model stopped working. They had to adapt and run a new model. And now we're in streaming services. Where are we going next? I don't know where we're going next. We're not in that field, but that's an easy example of, you look at some different models. But I mean, you can play that directly back to fitness, and you see this all the time, right? If you are curling 25 pounds, and you do 3 reps of 10, and that is your workout, there's going to be a point that stops working. Your body's just going to accept it as common movement every day. It's not going to go up, it's not going to go down. It just stops working. You have to adapt, you have to change, you have to diversify. Same is true. We've talked about this a few times. You guys have heard me say it. Took a beating in the stock market here not too terribly long ago. That was working. That was working good. Like we were making money, not hand over fist money, but we were making money. And then what we were making money in stopped. It just stopped. It changed. So we had to adapt. So what I coach to this is back to Mike's original question. What would I coach to this? What are you going to do next? That's what the plan is. Like you can look at the, all right, well, am I going to add 5 pounds? Am I going to add 10 reps? Am I going to change my portfolio? Am I going to change the way that I eat? What you do today may not work tomorrow. It totally happens that way all the time. I'll give you another example, and I know Mike's got some too. Of I didn't always wear glasses. I did not always wear glasses. I had brilliant, perfect vision, like better than perfect vision. Like I could like I had binocular vision. I had amazing vision into my 20s, and I had a small accident that burned my right eye and changed the shape of my retina, which caused my vision to change. My eyes adapted, so then now I have to wear glasses. So I had to, you're like, well, that's no big deal. It is a big deal because I had spent 20 years developing a particular style of how to shoot my bow. You put glasses on a person's face, you got to change. What worked before no longer works. You have it, and so I had a choice, and this is where I'll tell you this one. I had the choice. I could just stop shooting. Yep, done. Can't do it anymore because can't do it the way I like it to do it anymore. Or you have to adapt. You have to change. You have to make some adjustments in some capacity, either through equipment or physicality, to go, yeah, I love doing the thing. I'm going to keep doing it, but I have to do it a little bit differently. So
Right.
that's what I coach to is what's next. Where are we going with that related to whatever the trauma was of the thing that changed. So that's the piece. So we know that there's a lot of things that are going on with everybody right now. So is there, I'll ask Mike from a coaching perspective, is there a specific example that brought this one up for you?
Not really, but I just was thinking about it. I keep hearing a lot of middle-aged men making bad choices, and I keep talking to them about it. I keep hearing a lot of also middle-aged women um, reacting to situations as if it was 20 years ago. There's a lot of mental regression going on in the world right now, and I see that, and I'm thinking to myself, haven't you had enough reps that you don't are like you don't know how you're going to react already? Like what? Like haven't you had enough cycles of shit happen to you that you realize that the way you're reacting is not the same way you should be reacting as if you were 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago? And I see just a lot of that, right? Some of it stems from hearing people, about the environment that they're in. You hear shit around the country, you hear stuff politics, you hear stuff about economic growth. You just hear people react because I talk to people all day, right? You just hear these reactions, and thinking to myself, wow, haven't you sort of seen things play out and reset? And that's why you got to talk to old people. You got to talk to really old people. Really old people have a crotchety answer just about. I don't mean to stereotype, but they typically do. But then they typically start referencing something that was way before your time, where the same events happened, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, wait, but it course corrected from the time you're talking about a couple times to the time it is now. So we're in a cyclical wave. Now, some things you can't come back from, but everything course corrects. So, and to your couple points there, when you're trying to change, like when you had to deal with glasses, like most people don't realize this, but light comes through glasses, and it literally the glass changes the amount of light and energy and timing that passes through the lens. So there's a slight delay coming through glasses, and the distance from your glasses to your eye, a lot of stuff happens that we don't know about, and contacts as well. That's why typically a contact prescription is different than a glasses prescription. And then when we go back to the dumbbell example, the 25, 3 sets, 3 times 10 by 25, well, you could simply make an adjustment of the way you change your grip. You could remove a couple fingers. You could pronate. You could have your grip neutral. There's a ton of things. You could slow your rep tempo down. You could stand on one leg. There's like totally different ways that you can make these adjustments that are strategic that don't involve a major overhaul. Now,
That's it.
if that's not saying that you you can't make a major overhaul. Like there was a point in my life where I completely gave up drinking alcohol. And I gave up drinking alcohol because it was the number one thing pulling me out of focus. Meaning, I didn't want what I call gap clarity or gap consciousness. And gap consciousness is this: when you're at a certain frame and you're building or you're going and you're recruiting and you're trying to do things, you don't want to lose the awareness and what traps in the mind. You could talk to me all day about, taking notes and all this bullshit. This is about 100% all in dedication. When you drink, and especially when you drink like I drank, you there's no in between. Now I could have 10 beers and still be all right. I could have 4 drinks and still talk like I'm sober, but I'm not. So to the point where, you're in the same room, you're in the same zone, but you're losing your focus. Some days you want to wake up and remember everything from the day before, the week before, the night before. You want to wake up with feelings. You want to wake up with that same emotion because you want to be in the same state. You don't want to lose it. And then you don't want to have these resets that you're putting energy into taking yourself back to where you were before you started having drinks. Now, those of you out there, we're talking about drinking responsibly, drinking irresponsibly. It's all a giant threshold. But use my example and customize it to yourself, right? I see people all the time doing behaviors that don't serve them any longer, but they don't appreciate how many times they faced that adversity and gotten through it. Like I said earlier, if you're a person that's been on this earth for a while, you've got to respect the knowledge you've acquired. If you're a person that hasn't been on this earth for a while, you can model and learn from those before you, or you can appreciate how long you've been on the earth and realize there's more than one way to do it. I don't need to listen to everybody. I don't need to bend to their rules. There's nobody better than me. There's just people that have been down this road a little longer than I have. Or I can read about someone that's gone through the same kind of thing, and I can appreciate an approach they took, he or she, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if you start getting pulled and you start getting triggered and you start allowing the events of the world or the events of your own habits to steer you in the wrong direction for however long you're given on this earth, you're just going to be a person who's just reacting constantly.
See, and I think you bring up a real point there, to where there are so many people that still have and are still doing the things that don't serve them. They know their system is busted in one shape, in one way or the other, but they've become comfortable and complacent in that busted system, right? Whether you're, you know, overdoing it on, pick your class 1 carcinogen, right? Whether you're, whether it's cigarettes or whether it's pot or whether it's alcohol, it makes you feel like crap, but you're still doing it because it's convenient and you're trying to hide from something else or whatever you're doing, or you're just not exercising because it's hard. Right now, I'll take full responsibility for I am not outside rucking because it is cold. And I just am being a sissy, and I don't want to that. So that, but I'm not going to not, right. I'm still walking. Yesterday I walked like 3.5 miles inside. And you guys should know I'm a numbers person. So I know that currently where we are staying, it takes 35 laps to walk a mile. I have counted it. I have paced it. So I count my laps. I know how far I'm going. I don't have my happy little Apple Watch or tracker that's doing it, but I know I got to get some mileage because that's what makes me feel good. It's a thing, but I know if I don't move, I feel like crap. I just know. Like I could drink a whole bunch of soda, put a whole bunch of corn syrup in my system, eat a bunch of sugar, have a whole bunch of processed food, and sit around and do nothing. You bet. I could totally do that. I know I can't do that anymore. I could do that when I was 16. I could sit on the couch and then I could jump off the couch and go run a 5K. I could eat like a dumpster rabbit. I mean, I could just absolutely eat terrible, not exercise, do anything, and go physically do anything that I want to do. That system does not work for me anymore. I cannot do it. If I did that, I'd probably be dead, quite honestly, if I was still doing that. But that's just there was. I'll give you another example on this one. This one will crack you up. So I'll tell you this story. I was I was early 20s because my girls were like 1 and 2, my daughters, and I was going to the gym just about every day. We had a YMCA membership, and I was squatting and bench pressing, and I was lifting and doing all the things in a certain way that I'm supposed to be doing, and I was eating terrible. I was straight up trash panda eating. It was awful, and I had a Mountain Dew addiction at the time. I had a 2+ gallon a day Mountain Dew addiction. I would drink 2 of those 64-ounce to-go cups a day, and then I would have a can with dinner. I'd have a can before I went to bed. Gallons of the yellow liquid, right? Just way, way, way too much. And I'm not busting on Mountain Dew. It's delicious. It was great, but it was way too much. And I'm bench pressing, and I don't remember how much I was bench pressing at the time. It's irrelevant. I wasn't pushing 400. Don't get me wrong. I was probably benching like a buck and a half, $1.75, just doing a bunch of fast reps, and I thought I had a heart attack in that moment. Like, oh my God, left arm went numb. I felt nauseous and I couldn't move. And like my heart was killing me and my breath was short. All the symptoms were there. And I go to the hospital and thinking, this is it. This is how I go out. Is I went to the gym to work out and that's what's going to kill me. It was in my thought process instead of the gallons of Mountain Dew. And at the time, the doctor on call looked like Barbie. I kid you not. 6 foot tall blonde doctor comes walking in, throws a clipboard down, and looks at me and goes, "You're an idiot." Like, just that was her bedside manner because she knew what I'd done. And what I ended up doing is I had a hiatal hernia of my esophagus. I'd eroded the lining out to where it was just this floppy balloon, and my esophagus had welded itself to the side of my heart and pissed my heart off because it couldn't shake it off. It couldn't get this thing off of it. And it was really mad. So I was forced to go on, I think it was the brat diet at the time, and basically eating like cream corn and mashed potatoes for like several weeks. And I had to take all this other stuff, and I had to quit drinking Mountain Dew. And I probably have had 10 cans of Mountain Dew in 20 years since that time, but I had to change the way I did things. I had to. It wasn't a choice because my old patterns, my old way of life was not serving me. I want to go forward. There's a lot of things I want to do. I still want to go climb Mount Fuji. I want to climb Kilimanjaro. I want to go do Machu Picchu. There's all kinds of these things that require cardio for me to do. Therefore, I have to do cardio all the time. I didn't used to, but now I have to because I still want to do the things I want to do. So that's the example I would give you on the, yeah, maybe your old habits aren't serving you anymore. Maybe you need, to Mike's point, you need to get rid of some of these. Just let them go. Like, they're not serving you.
Maybe like when both of us were younger, maybe you could have been doing shit better if you weren't setting back, right? Like I remember my total go-to hangover when I was working construction. Like I was going to school about an hour. Like I was going to school in Pennsylvania, and I would drive down to Baltimore, and I was working construction with this crooked carpenter during college. This dude was crazy, and we would just go in the ghetto and get these crackheads to like do this crazy stuff, climb mountains or climb rafters and do all this crazy stuff. And I was right with these guys, and my go-to was Gatorade, a big slam of Mountain Dew, and like 2 Advil, and I forget what the breakfast sandwich of the day was. I mean, I'd be pounding these down on the way down, full speed, man. Hey, let's go. Drinking till 3, working at 7. Like, I'm invincible. Well, dude, we could have done it better. Sure, we
Oh,
could
God,
bounce
yes.
back and we're invincible, but could have done it better and smoother, taking advantage of that nervous system that's hyper reactive. It's awesome. You think about how many days you go through, and I could just, yeah, all right, sure. I can't do what I used to be able to do, but maybe I can do what I used to be able to do better, and maybe now I'm just doing things smarter, right? So
And we have
just
to. And
a little
that's the
more
key.
aware of it, right? Like just
Yeah.
being that much more thorough with who I am, and like I'm quick to change these days, right? Like if I realize something's not working, I know it's going to take me a minute, but I'm quick to change here first, and then I'm maybe slow to change here, but here's changing immediately. It might take me a couple weeks to put it into practice, but the immediate switch flip is here.
Yeah, yeah. The mental. It has to be the mental switch. Has to be the first place because if you don't make that switch, you're not making any of the other switch.
Right, but sometimes it takes a minute to integrate, right? Like it just does.
Yep.
Like if you're smart, obviously something like a health scare, duh, stop eating fat if you have a heart attack. But like, just things take a minute, and nothing's, and just because you make this change, right, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work. What it means is you may be on one step to your next evolution, and you just have to deal with the disappointment of it not being familiar. You just have to suck it up. It's kind of
That's
like
fair, man.
if you got addiction issues, stop going into your local bar. Like, just suck it up, Buttercup. Figure it out, right? Figure it out. Go through the suck. Anyways, you got anything else to add, man? We are out of time, dude.
We're there, man. All right. So everybody that's listening, hey, like, subscribe on all the channels, whatever channel you like the most. Check us out on Amazon, share us on Apple, check it out on iTunes. Everywhere you can see us, go check us out and share us with your friends. Go on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all the things. And that's what I got for you in extra. On behalf of the Michael Labersi, I am Dr. Jake Glendenning. It is your turn to disrupt.